All right. Shalom, shalom, and shalom, Sister Deborah. Coming this evening with a message. And this message is really going to be about something that uh, should enlighten individuals who are at this time in spirit and truth and have the light. This is another message that goes inside the spiritual backpack. Put this in your spiritual backpack. And this message is really tagging in on the Most High Yah and where He really rests inside of the twos. Being so people, they think they really know about the twos, but they don't know really what the twos really is about. They really don't. And the twos is a form of the Father branding the spirit of those who represent His spiritual seed. He brand them in the spirit, which is, if you really think about it, is a beautiful thing. And it's a good thing because it helps individuals out as far as where they stand walking in the spirit. You know, a lot of people don't understand that about the twos and really understand that the twos is also separated, uh, really separated from each other. And it's a big difference. Like everything there is on the earth, then also on the earth, there is, like, let's just use fear. We know in our flesh we have this fear in our flesh. We do. We really do. We have a fear in our flesh. Everybody has that. If you run up on somebody who don't have any fear in their flesh, they're not human. Okay? Believe me, they're not human, and you better take off and run. We all have that fear in our flesh, but there is a fear in the spirit. That means who placed this type of brand of fear in your spirit? You know, it says, I didn't give you, it is said that I didn't give you a spirit of fear. You see what I'm saying? Because fear that he's speaking of is the type of spiritual fear. That's why he didn't say, I didn't give you fear. He's letting you know that the type of fear that I didn't give you is called, it's not a spirit of fear. That means that I wouldn't dare want you to fear in your spirit. Okay? The only fear that he wants you to have is the brand fear that he branded you with. And I'm gonna tell you, it's a big difference from the natural fear that we have in the flesh. So I want to just share with you that this is a time we can talk. That means anyone can bring up conversation and we can discuss. If anybody got answers or questions, this is the time to talk. This is the time you could voice your opinion, or if you have a question, and we just gonna all tie in and be there to just hear what one has to say. And if we have questions or if we have even answers, you know, this is the time to talk. But while we're doing this, I also want to make sure I cover these are some of the brands, and I believe they are the brands that is branded in one spirit. Do we have these brands in our flesh? Yes. But we also have these brands in the spirit. The way they represent you in the spirit is different than the way they represent you in the flesh. All of these brands you might have in the flesh, and you trust in the things in the flesh and outside of the flesh with all of these brands, you see? So what happened to these brands that you have in the flesh? They die with your flesh. But these brands are in the spirit. The Father has branded these brands in your spirit. So what do that mean? It goes with you. Even when you sleep, when you wake up, you still have these branded in your spirit, okay? But when you die in the flesh, all the things that you might have in the flesh, which is your right, your belief, your faith, your fear, and your hope, dies with you. You see that? You see the big difference? One live eternal and the other one goes to what? The ground. So this is why we can't use these type of things here toward the flesh and hope that it stands tall enough to trust somebody with it. You can't trust nobody with this here in the flesh, y'all. I know it. A lot of you feel, hey, yeah, I got you. I don't have no other choice. You're right. Because if you're born of the flesh, this is what you do. You trust any and everybody with this here. But I'm sure no matter how much you trust any and everybody with these here in the flesh, they fail you every time. Okay? Because it's a difference. And that's why I think that, and I understand the Father when he said, don't go back and try to change people or try to steer people or get them to understand or breaking it down to the point where, it can't be broke down anymore and they still don't get it. Don't go there. He said, because the light is revealing it all clearly within the darkness. That's what makes it so beautiful, because you're being shown things in the dark and the light is revealing it and shining on darkness so you can see. Okay, so I want to talk about this righteousness, belief, faith, fear, and hope. It is a brand that the Father brand in you, not in your flesh, but in your spirit is branded with these brands. Some have one, some have two, some have three, some have four. You see? Some have five. You see? But these are the spiritual brands that's founded in your spirit, man. Okay? And we're going to find out that these brands are not connected to your flesh brand. Not your flesh brand. It's not connected to your flesh. Even though your flesh might do right, your flesh might believe something, your flesh might have fear, your flesh might have faith, and your flesh might have hope in the things of the flesh, in the things outside of the flesh. You see? But these things which weigh in the spirit, these are the brands that's also branded in individual by Yah. Like I say, one, some have two, some have three, some have four, some might even have five, according to what? The measurement of the Most High Yah. Yah measure these brands that he has branded you with. Now, let me share something with you all. Now, when you go to the book of Hebrew, in the book of Hebrew, chapter 11, it normally, let me touch this here. It normally focuses here on faith. It talks about faith quite a bit. And as I show you how important it is to have these brands in your spirit, because this tells you who you are in the Creator bosom, where you stand. It tells you. These brands let you know, because he branded his before the foundation of the world. Before heaven and earth was created, before you was in your mother's womb, he placed this in your spirit. So let's go where I can show you that these things are not for the flesh. These are brands of the Most High for the spirit. The individuals did not ask for these things. Myself, you, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, David, Solomon, Moses, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Amos, Joel, Ezekiel. We didn't ask for these brands, but the Father saw fit that he brand us with his brand in our spirit. Okay. Now, when we get to Hebrew chapter 11, I want you to, let's start with verse 1. In Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped. Connected. Hope. There go hope. For. And the evidence of things not seen. So what is it showing you? If faith is the substance of things one hope for, but it's the evidence of things not seen. You see? This faith and this hope and this hope and this faith, you can't see it. You see? You can't see it. Hebrew chapter 11, verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for. Faith and hope. But watch this here. But you ain't going to find no evidence of faith and hope. Why? Because they are the things not seen. You get what I'm saying? That's why I say to you all, these are spiritual brands that Yah has branded your spirit. It's nothing you said, you done, you think, you feel, or you mastered, or you read, or you inherit these here. You didn't inherit these. These came in your spirit when he sent you down. Okay? Not all of them. Some of them got all of them, but everybody don't have all of them. You don't have to, just one that y'all see fit to give you, still mark you as his. It's his spiritual seed. So it says here in verse 3, and this is what we're gonna look at. Verse 3, Hebrew chapter 11, verse 3. Through. Now you know how David said, ye though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. What is he saying? He don't get stuck in the valley of the shadow of death. He walk through it, letting you know he comes out on the other side. Okay? He don't sit in the valley of the shadow of death. He walk through it, meaning he might start it, but he comes through it. He don't sit in it. He comes through it. Okay? So right here, faith. Look at Hebrew chapter 11, verse 3. Through faith, we understand the worlds were framed by the word of Yah. Now you see where it says the world was framed, okay, through faith. People don't understand. These are all Yah's in his bosom. These are his brand that's in his bosom. He give his seeds these brands, okay, as he measured it unto you. But he gives it to you and he bring you in your spirit, okay? Now look at 3. It tells you faith. We understand that the world was framed. The world was framed by faith. Watch this here. By the word of Yah. You think this world was framed by this book? Come on now, talk to me. You think this world was framed by these words in this book? People, these words in this book is not the word of Yah. These are words that he suffered man to steal from his strolls and add it, take away, or whatever. He didn't stop them. You see? But he told us to just study it. In a sense, flesh study. Tarry for me, and when I come, I'll teach you all things. So it's explaining to you that the world through faith was framed by Yah, by the word of Yah, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. That's just like these. You see, I got righteous, belief, faith, and fear, and hope. But these things are spiritual. These are brands of the Most High Yah that he brands his spiritual seeds with. Because one thing he's good at, if he's going to send you on a journey or on a mission and in a purpose for his name's sake, guess what? He's definitely going to give you the tools to work with. And these are some of the tools that he brand in your spirit. So here in verse 3, it says, through faith, we understand the world were framed by the word of Yah. Not this book. This book is not the word of Yah. These are words. Okay? The word of Yah is Yah himself. When he speaketh, that's his word, not a bunch of words in a book. Okay? Now it says in 3, so that things which are seen were not made of the things which do appear. That's showing you that we have to look through the window of spiritual. When we refuse to do that, we want to look through the window of the natural, of the world, of the flesh. We don't want, a lot of people would say nowadays, and it's a big a way out. They'll say everybody want to talk about all this spiritual thing. Everybody want to make everything spiritual. Guess what, y'all? Spiritual was here before anything. So why not go back to what was here before it was? So it can make sense. What is here comes from what was, not what is. Exactly what he's saying in Hebrew chapter 11 and verse 3. And what do you mean when he said it? So that things which are seen were not made of the things which do appear. So what that tell you? Go back to the spiritual realm and get the understanding. And that's a place many won't go. Why? Because no one can teach them at that level. No one can give them spirit and truth and the light to put in their spiritual backpack, because they don't know how to really give that type of food for people's spirits, because they've been teaching them food of trash. So they wouldn't want to go back to teach people spiritual food and give them spirit and truth and the light. Remember, Yeshua said, the time is now and the time shall come in the end days when the true worshipers shall worship in spirit and truth. Well, the reason why the world can't go that route is because they taught the lies for too long to give you anything that's worth spiritual. They can't even touch the rim. Y'all hear me now? They can't even touch the rim of what is spirit and truth, because they've been teaching the lie. They wouldn't be able to touch spirit and truth with the light in their right hand, no way, because spirit and truth ain't touching them. So they can't teach what is not in them. So they got to teach what's on the outside of them. And that is having their own righteousness, self-righteous. Have y'all heard of that? Self-righteous, their own belief in themselves, pride and boasting, their own faith. We know that faith of this nature is not seen, but it's unseen. Okay? We know that they fear, because that's what they do. They teach the people out of the natural fear that people might fear their way into what they believe out of fear. And then it's hope. These here, they would teach you out of your flesh, to teach your flesh these things. But what you didn't know, that these are brands in the spirit that Yah has branded his seed with in your spirit. It's going to be with you forever. To where this stuff that they teaching y'all on all these platforms, that stuff is going to die with you, and it ain't going to last no time. Okay, so when I get to Hebrew chapter 11, I get down to verse 4, and I see where it says, and I'm going to go straight through it. It says in verse 4, by faith Abel offered unto Yah a more excellent sacrifice than Cain. How did Abel do that? By faith. Now, is this a faith that Abel came up with in his flesh? No, it was a brand in Abel. Abel, when he was born, Yah branded him with faith. So a lot of people, when they teaching Abel and Cain and Abel, they don't understand. Yah was giving you an example of what he was saying to Adam and Eve. Even that example of the tree of life and the tree to good and evil. Okay? So it was always, it's everything in the beginning was always to get you to know more in this day and time than they even could think of then. Right now, we are without total excuse, because everything now the Father is making allowing to be very clear and plainly seen. Here in verse 4, Hebrew in chapter 11, verse 4, it says, by faith Abel offered unto Yah a more excellent sacrifice than Cain. How did Abel do that? Because Cain had faith in the flesh, but Abel had faith in the spirit. You get it? That's why it was already in him to offer the sacrifice to Yah. Why? Because he was branded already with faith. To where Cain was not branded with faith, but Abel was. The Father was giving us an example in Genesis 3:15 of the two seeds that hit the earth. It's only two different type of people on the earth. It's either the spiritual seed, okay, or the serpent seed. It's no in between, none whatsoever. You either one or the other. Those are the two that came from the kingdom. Okay. Now, here in verse 5, look what it says in verse 5. By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death. How can he not see death? Wait a minute, let's say, by faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death. By what? By faith. That faith was in Enoch's spirit. There go that faith again. These are spiritual brands that's branded in Enoch and Abel's spirit, you guys. What gets me so much is how so many people, especially Judah, they tend to weigh heavily on the flesh of man. They don't give no glory to the spirit of Yah. Because, if to be honest, all that power he is and he's all knowing, he's excellent, he's the greatest, he's wonderful, he's perfect, he's all power, he's all of that. But man tends to turn to man and give him all the glory. And a lot of you all stand around in this world today and don't even think to observe that. That's crazy, but that's what they do. Even in the church, in the temple, in the synagogue, it's all about putting man on high. They have forsaken the Creator himself just to put man above the Most High, y'all. And y'all, that ain't right. But why do we stand around and not say anything? It's not because we can't do nothing about it. But it's not right. So when you go to talking about Enoch, now you see how they would go and get the book of Enoch and, Enoch said this and Enoch said this. Have they ever thought to sit your tails down and hear what I said the Most High God? They can't, because the way y'all communicate, let me stand y'all down for a minute. The way y'all communicate is not the way you all in this world want to hear from him. You want to hear from him on your outer man, but he ain't coming to your outer man to teach you nothing. If he can't teach you from your inner man where your spirit is at and his spirit would abide in, he ain't got no part to the outer man and the way they teach you and the way you believe what they teach you and the way you follow them. You see, he's not going to do that. And that's why so many synagogues, temples, and churches and places of worship and all these platforms is without the Ruach HaKodesh, which the world call the Holy Spirit. They without Yah's spirit because they don't want no part of him unless they're able to drag him outside, out of the flesh, without detaching to us and dealing with us and teaching us from the spirit realm. They don't want it. They just don't want it. So here in Hebrew chapter 5, Hebrew chapter 11, verse 5, it says, by faith. Right there, you know what that does for me? Enoch, sit your butt down. Sit your butt down. We should not be dragging Enoch up on no pedestal or putting Enoch above any and everything. Stand your tails down. Only one go up is the Father. Exalt him up. How about that? Magnify him up. Glorify him up. Lift him up. Praise him. Oh no. But Enoch your tail somewhere and sit down. So here it's telling you by spiritual faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death. So right there shows y'all all wrong. Because while you thinking Enoch has some power and authority to be on this earth in the midnight hour in which we are, a time like no other, is called worse than any other time that ever exists on the earth. And you think it's about magnifying Enoch. Sit your Enoch tails down. Here it's telling you by spiritual faith, that's how Enoch didn't see death. Wake up. So how did he not see it? Through the power of my Father, the Creator, the Most High Yah, the I am that I am, Ahaya. See, that's how you got to give the glory. And stop making all these characters in these books all that answer. Kick that mess to the curb. Because when you make everybody in this book and everybody in the lost books and everybody in your found books, you put them up on a pedestal, you lose all of this that he branded their tails with, and you didn't know. Now it's telling you by faith, Abel was able to walk. But what's this faith, Father? It's a faith that I put in him, Deborah. It's spiritual. So it wasn't that Abel was all that and he did it, and Abel gave an offering, he did the right thing, and Abel was this, and Abel did this. No, Abel didn't do anything but have the spiritual faith. Let's go on down to verse 5. By faith, Enoch. Wait a minute, hold up, Father. Are you saying that it can't just be Enoch? No. Enoch was riding on this spiritual faith. And in this spiritual faith, it taught him that he wasn't going to see death. But if he didn't have this spiritual faith, he would have seen death, and death would have seen him. Y'all better stop it. Y'all give too many of these men, and it has to do with men. You give them too much glory and too much praise. You give them too much honor. Let me get this here thing right. I don't know why. And you shouldn't do that. But that's how people are today. That's what they believe in. That's just how they are. They believe in just magnify everything of the flesh and give nothing for the spirit. And they live like that. They don't see nothing wrong with that. But see, this is what he's telling you. Faith. Now let's continue. I get here and I go to verse 7. And here it goes. In verse 7, it's, wait a minute, is it 7? No. We got to go to 6. We in Hebrew chapter 11, verse 6, it says, but without faith, it is impossible to please him. So how in the rest behind could Abel please Yah with his offering? Somebody need to answer that if you can. I don't think you can. You can't even make that make sense. Listen to what it says. Verse 6. Hebrew chapter 11, verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please Yah, which is him. Wait a minute. So if Abel didn't have faith, it's no way he would have gave you the right offering, Father Yah. No. So you mean to tell me if Enoch didn't have this spiritual brand called faith, Enoch would never have heard anything or known anything about him not seeing death, Father Yah? Is that what you said, Father Yah? Yes. Y'all give too much honor and too much glory to the flesh of men and women. Too much. And it is off the chain where you can't do nothing but do that. Meaning y'all done went overboard. And y'all say, I don't have no problem with it. They've been exalting Deborah. They've been magnifying Deborah. They've been glorifying the flesh of men and women since the beginning of time. I ain't missing out on nothing. They've been doing it since the beginning time. So here it says in Hebrew chapter 11, verse 6, but without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yah must believe. Bam! There it is. There it is. See, y'all thinking y'all coming to the Father with all of this of the flesh, your belief in your flesh that you are who you are. Your faith in your flesh gives you the ability to think you got hope. Your hope in your flesh, your fear in your flesh. Well, I'm afraid of the Father. I'm afraid. No. That's the fear of your flesh. Your righteousness in your flesh. It's like filthy rags, and you still ain't caught on to that. People just do not understand spirit and truth, nor the light of what is righteous. Here it's telling you in verse 6, but without faith, it is impossible to please him. So it's nothing Abel done to please Yah. It was what was in him. The faith in verse 5 with Enoch, it was nothing Enoch was detached to that had anything outside of the spiritual faith of Yah that causes him to know the things that he knew. Okay? Then we'll go to the next one. For he that cometh to Yah must believe. There go that spiritual belief. You have to have this branded in you. You see that? That he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So when you find somebody like Enoch and you find somebody like Abel, it's because they got this spiritual faith and they got the spiritual belief branded in their spirits. You see what I'm saying? It's already branded in them. Okay? So when you get to verse 7, verse 6, I want to stress that it says, but without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yah must believe. He first has to have faith, believe, okay, that he is, and that he is the rewarder of them that diligently seek him. You see, now I'm going to show y'all where you don't hear it said anything about Yeshua HaMashiach. Y'all notice that? Why? Because these gifts are not from Yeshua HaMashiach. These are gifts from the Most High Yah. Yeshua nor HaMashiach can give you these gifts. Only he that's on the throne, Yah, the Father, the Ahaya, the I am that I am. Okay? So when I get to verse 7, it says, by faith, Noah. And I'm like saying, now see that, Father? People would really think that all these characters is all that answer. You know why y'all think like that? It's because you keep denying what you call truth. And it's wrapped up in spirit. The truth is. And the truth is spirit, and the spirit is truth. You just don't get it. By faith, here it is. This is what Noah had in him, y'all. He had this in his spirit. He was branded with faith. Verse 7, by faith, Noah, being warned of Yah, of the things not seen as yet. See, he didn't see nothing yet. But by faith that was in him, that Yah branded him with, moved more fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house. So what is it showing you that he had? Noah had faith and he had fear. This is the spiritual brands that Yah brand he is down with. He's sending you down with these here brands. And it tells you in verse 7, by faith, Noah being warned of Yah, of the things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house. So you see how we can give Noah all the glory and all the praise, and not so much as the praise, yeah, in a sense, because we put these characters that's in this book of words, we put them too high, y'all. Bring their tails back down to the earth where you at, and put the Most High at his highest level, and stop giving these worldly characters of men all these here glory. You see, and they doing it. You giving it to them, and y'all put this in them, and you ain't got sense. Let me just say that again, Father. You ain't got the sense in the spirit realm to know that they flesh and blood like you and I, and they couldn't get to the level of where they at with Yah, obeying Yah without these brands. And that's what Hebrew 11 is telling you. They had to be branded. And he's showing you all the hens that he had to brand with these here brands. And y'all still will walk around in this world and say, oh, I'm full of the Holy Spirit. I know I got my ticket to the New Jerusalem. I know I'm going. I know I'm saved. And you ain't got nan one of these brands living in you at all. Your spirit is not even branded. And that's why when you go to these churches, you see it loaded with people. You can see Joel Osteen with 2,000 or 3,000 people. They have no brands of the spirit. They are just dead as dead can be. Listening to a man that's already dead. So I guess that matches, huh? So here, when you get to verse 8, here you see in Hebrew chapter 11, verse 8, by faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, and he obeyed. But how did Abraham do that? It's telling y'all And y'all will still turn around and give these people all the glory like these men do. They get a kick out of pulling these characters out and uplifting them and glorifying them, and then kick y'all to the curb when they could not have reached this destiny without faith. Verse 8, by faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance. But how did he do it? By spiritual faith. Y'all don't understand what these people had invested in them, in their spirit. These are the spiritual gifts and brands that y'all branded them in the spirit with. And that's how they were able to move according to his order. That's why faith is the substance of things unseen but yet believed. Because it's not giving them the glory and the honor. It's not giving them something that they may boast and boost and be proud of. As if they all that and some they can. Because it's unseen. So it ain't something that they just automatically entitled to. It's what the heavens has measured to each and every last one of you and me. Okay? So then I get it tells you in verse 9, we in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 9, by faith he sojourned in the land of the promise. Who did that? Abraham. So you mean to tell me Abraham wouldn't have done anything had not he had the spiritual faith? Tell him, Deborah, again. Abraham wouldn't have done nothing had not he had the spiritual faith. That's what y'all want to stress to you all. These are the brands of the Most High Yah. He's sending your spirit down branded. Some has one, some has two. Some has three, some has four. Y'all brand your spirit with these. Everybody that has these branded in their spirit, 1, 2, or 3, or 4, they are heavenly assigned. Okay? Those, they are what you call truly assigned to the kingdom. Okay? He's not going to brand them if they don't belong to him. It's like a farm. They take their cows, they brand their cows. If a cow or two get out, no one else in that area miles away, they can't do anything with it. Why? Because it's branded. They have to take it back to its owner. So that's how Yah took these spiritual brands and branded our spirit so we'll make it back home. Okay? Okay. So now you go into, we did 9, because that's 8 and 9 was where it's talking about how. Now, see right here, it says Abraham had faith in verse 8. Then it says in verse 9, by faith he sojourned. So this is also showing you, remember that time he was in a vision with the Most High Yah, and it said, and Abraham believed. But you heard it said, and it was his belief was taken out, and he was counted as righteous. So it was not his belief because he was in the vision. You see? So it was counted as, Abraham was counted as righteous. This is a spiritual brand. So don't think that, oh, this person got this and I don't know why y'all measured this and gave this one this and this one this and this one this. It's he measured it in the kingdom, you guys. This is his work from the kingdom level. So that what belonged to him and what is branded in us must return back to his bosom. That's a beautiful thing because it also shows darkness and Satan that, hey, you can't take this. It's already branded. You got to return it back to Yah. Because it's branded. It got his brand. You see how good it is that the creator brand his spirits before they get down here? That's why can't nobody pluck them out of his hand. They branded already. Okay? And as we continue to go on to verse 11, listen to this. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive a seed. Sarah was too old. She ain't had no strength to have no baby. But by what? See, y'all don't know the power of that faith. He said the world was created by faith. by the faith of the word of God. You see how they won't teach this sort of thing because they don't want Yah to gain the glory for having such awesome spiritual brands. Yah has all of these spiritual brands, okay? He branded his with these things. And like I said, that's a beautiful thing because that shows darkness, it shows Satan and demons and everybody else that, okay, minds are branded. So anything y'all down there doing and anything that is being wrong done to them, it's because they already branded. But they coming back home to me because I branded them already. Hello. See, a lot of people don't know that. So when they go out and start killing all the prophets back in the day, so what? They already branded. They coming right back to me, to glory. You see? That's why he told you they can't pluck you out of his hand. Why? Because he branded you already. Mm-hmm. So here is talk about in verse 11, through faith also Sarah herself conceived strength to conceive a seed. How did she do that? The power of faith. A lot of y'all don't understand that faith is detached to everything there is of Yah. See, so it ain't about Sister Deborah making it in because she know this, she don't that, she don't know a rat's behind from her own. It's about what's branded in me that knows it all. You see, we need to get out of that realm of that flesh that's telling us we all that and something, because that's how people mentality is. That's why they can't get past A. They still in the beginning of A, thinking they down there at Z, and they ain't even got off of A yet. They at the beginning because their mentality, meaning their heart, their flesh heart and their flesh mind, is still swimming in darkness. Okay, so when I get to verse 13, let's go down to 13. Listen to this. These all died in faith, not having received the promise, but having seen them far off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, confessed that they were strangers. Confessed that they were strangers. But guess what? They died in faith. Told y'all. That's how them Gentiles getting in. The Gentiles is getting in through belief and faith. That's how the Gentiles getting in, y'all. That's how they're being grafted in. It's through belief and faith. Y'all branded them already. Read this here. Listen to this. Verse 13, Hebrew chapter 11, verse 13. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them far off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them. See, they was all about everything that fell under the promise. They was all for it. You know, they embraced it. Okay, they were persuaded by them, and they confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. So what happened to them? They died. So what? They will see glory because they got the spiritual faith. You see? You see, that's why you do whatever you think you can do. But when it all said and done, you ain't doing nothing. Okay? And I like that. I really like that. So when you get to verse 20, we still in Hebrew, chapter 11, verse 20, it says, by faith, Isaiah blessed Jacob and Esau concerning the things to come. But how did he do that? By faith. Isaiah blessed Jacob and Esau concerning the things to come. And this is why I say to you all, and a lot of you all would never get it. It's too late to get it anyway. A lot of the men have been failures in anything according to the order of Yah. Listen to how Isaiah blessed Jacob and Esau concerning the things to come. Look at Jacob. Remember, Jacob was on his deathbed, and he said, gather yourself together, the sons of Jacob, gather yourself together, which was the 12 tribes, come, that I may tell you what is to come in the last days. Why? So we would know. He was charging his sons, so he's dying. He was charging them to come to the bed so he can tell them. How can he do that? Look at 20. By faith, Isaiah blessed Jacob and Esau concerning the things to come. You guys, you won't get it. That is what Yah wanted out of men, to explain to your sons what is to become them. How can, listen to this very careful, can a father tell his son what is to become him? How can he do that? He can't, because he has not faith. Faith itself allowed the fathers to give their blood sons their tomorrow. How? By faith. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen and the things that you're going to come up on. These men today ain't seen their sons. They ain't raised their sons. They ain't fed their sons. They ain't put a roof over their sons. And don't estimate that that's not out of order. It is. But y'all knew it would be. That's why he don't mess with it. He let things be exactly the way he knew before the foundation of the world, the way it would rumble. Even after he set all hardcore orders, it didn't mean nothing. Men today have no idea that them sperms are those children that you got these women raising. To where the world vice versa it and says, okay, since you ain't going to take care of your children, now the women are liable. And this is how women got to be liable for raising the children of the men. But the women were ignorant then, and they ignorant now, because they had no idea that the father created the sins of the father to come down his children. So you end up with the sin. So when y'all out here and y'all see all these children having this hate for their mother, that's where it's coming from. It's the sin of the father that reigns into the children. They can't be mad at the father, because they don't understand that the father is who they are. They got to be mad at the mother who ain't like them. You see? And this is how you know that the whole earth is off course. And everybody thinking they're going to end up in Mount Zion and everybody going to end up in the kingdom. No one is concerned about that. Do y'all know that? 99.9 don't care if they go to hell or if they go to heaven. Did y'all know that? They don't care. That's the mindset of people. They're not there, y'all. And they're not going to make it there. And they're not trying to get there. So here it talks about Isaiah having faith in verse 20. And with that faith, he blessed Esau and Jacob concerning the things to come. What father can bless their children today? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Like Jacob did to 12. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. The father always set it up as an example for Judah and Israel to know how to bless their children. You're blessing them because you're telling them what to look for in the days to come. Okay. So in verse 20, it says, by faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed both the sons of Joseph, which he did. Now, how did he do that? By faith. See, faith and worshiped, leaning upon the top of his staff. This is what Jacob did before he died. He also blessed his children, his 12 sons, in what shall become them in the last days. You see? So here in verse 20, by faith, so did Jacob also blessed Joseph 2 sons. Okay. And verse 22, by faith, Joseph, when he died, made mention. See, he said something. He mentioned of the departing of the children of Israel and gave commandments concerning his bone. How did he do it? By faith. So what Jacob did and Isaiah did, it was all by faith. So do y'all understand what faith is? Now let me explain something. The Christian churches, the Catholic churches, the Jehovah's Witness churches, the 7-day event or whatever they call it, the all of these places of worship think faith is something that you got power over. I got faith. I know I got faith. People really think faith is theirs. And they don't understand it is. The flesh realm of faith, yes. The flesh realm of faith, yes. Okay. Now here in verse 23, it says, by faith, Moses, when he was born, was hidden in 3 months. He had 3 months of his parent. Now, look what Moses got by faith. Now, how can Moses hide himself? You see how faith is working? That's why you can't control it. Because it's a substance of things that Yah does that's not seen. So how is it you got all the power over your faith? Don't look at Sister Deborah. Don't look at nobody to have power in the area of any of these as if it is who they are. No. It is who Yah is. His brand in you. Not the person itself. Okay? So it says in 24, by faith Moses, when he was come to years, by 23, by faith Moses, when he was born, he was hidden 3 months of his parents because they saw he was a purpose child. But how did they do it? By faith. 24, by faith Moses, when he had come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. By what? By faith. You see how faith is rumbling? See, faith ain't what y'all been taught, and you're still being taught. Especially these people on these platforms and these places of so-called worship and these churches and so on and so on. All of them is a bunch of horse mess. When you get to the last one in 27 in Hebrew chapter 11, I think every last one of you all should read it. Because what it'll show you that people are teaching and preaching out of the realm of the spirit. So they're not in the realm of the spirit. They just running their horse mouth. Because here in verse 27, by faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. Through faith, he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood. This is why they can't obey Yah. Did y'all know that? This is why they don't know spirit and truth. This is why they're not the light that's set up on a hill. This is why they're teaching y'all the things that they're teaching y'all. They don't have the spiritual faith. They don't have the spiritual belief. They don't have the spiritual righteousness, and they don't have the spiritual fear nor the spiritual hope. They are dead. That's why he said, lead the dead to teach the dead. And that's why they get the multitude. So when you go around and you see people with the multitude, oh, they got a lot of subscribers in light. If you ever detach that to what is righteous, that's what believe is. That's what faith is. That's what fear is of Yah. And that's what hope is. You need to go on over there where they at so you can get a little something what they got. Okay? Because that is exactly where you need to be. Okay. So here, when I get to Romans chapter 10 and verse 6, when I get into Romans chapter 10 and verse 6, I hear this. Watch this here. Romans chapter 10 and verse 6, it reads, but the righteousness which is of faith. There you go. Look how righteous is hooking up with faith. Look how righteous is hooking up with faith, y'all. That's deep. That's just like faith was hooking up with hope. Y'all, it was deep. That's in Hebrew chapter 11. Faith was hooking up with hope, and hope was hooking up with faith. Listen to this here. Romans chapter 10, verse 6. But the righteousness which is of faith. There go righteous. It's hooking up with faith. Speak on this wise. Say not in thy heart, who shall ascend into the heavens? That is to bring the Messiah, Yeshua, Hamashiach, down from above. Notice in verse 6, it says, but righteousness which is of faith. Speak it. Righteousness and faith. See how they hooking up together? It ain't you. It's what's branded in your spirit. So all that time you see people really caught up in this them having, I know I got faith. I got hope. I got faith. I got belief. And this is why things don't turn out for people, because they got their own self understanding of what everything is and was and shall be. They got it all locked in. It's this way, y'all. Come on, go with me. It's this way. I'll show you. And that's what they teach you. Okay. So when I end up into Romans chapter 4 and verse 5, Romans talk about it, which is really a good thing. It talks about a lot of righteous. Okay. Romans chapter 4 and verse 5, it says, but to him that worketh not, but believeth on him that justify the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. There it go again. Listen to this, y'all. Listen to this. That's how Abraham was counted righteous. Listen to this. Romans chapter 4 and verse 5. But to him that worketh not, but believe on him that justified the ungodly, his faith, belief and faith wrapping up together, his faith counted for righteous. Now, just in that one verse, wait a minute, it got all three of these. That's why I told you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, as many as y'all can give you. So in Romans chapter 4 and verse 5, you can put all three in there. Faith, righteous, belief, and faith. They wrapped them together. Romans chapter 4 and verse 5. Let's go to Romans chapter 9. In Romans chapter 9, verse 33. Let's see what's going on there. In Romans chapter 9, verse 33, as it is written. Now, when it says it's written, that means heaven's got all this wrote down, okay? They ain't using earth to justify, clarify, and identify nothing. He's letting you know, I already got this written in heaven. Let's see what he got. Behold, I lay in Zion a stumbling stone and a rock of offense. And whosoever, there go believe, whosoever believe on him shall not be ashamed. Now, this is something else that's strange to me. Why should individuals who is branded with belief, why should they be ashamed? I don't understand. Maybe one of you all can answer that. It says in Romans chapter 9, verse 33, as it is written, so we know in the kingdom it is written, behold, I lay in Zion a stumbling stone and a rock of offense. And whosoever believeth, here go the belief, on him shall not be ashamed. I noticed I saw that more than once, and it was confusing to me. Why would anybody be ashamed? Because you believe. Now watch this here. Romans chapter 10 and verse 10. Romans chapter 10 and verse 10. For with a heart man believeth unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. Now, where he says, with the heart man believeth, there go believe. Guess where this belief is at? It's in your spirit. See, a lot of people, I'm sorry, and I am sorry, because that throughout your living, they didn't teach you the twos. In your flesh, you have a mind and a heart. In your spirit, you have a mind and a heart. Let this mind be in you that was in Yeshua HaMashiach. It's a spiritual mind. And that same way, the heart. Verse 10, Romans chapter 10 and verse 10. For with a heart man believeth. There it is. Unto what? Righteous. You see how they hooking together? They staying close together. Man believeth unto righteous, and with the mouth confesses is made unto salvation. Now, right there, you notice, I got to go to 11, verse 11. For the scripture says, whosoever believeth, there go believe again, on him shall not be ashamed. There you go again. I don't understand what that shame. Why would we be ashamed? Because we believe. You see? But in verse 10, Romans chapter 10 and verse 10, it hooks belief and righteous together. It takes these two and put them together. So see, I'm trying to show y'all these are brands that Yah has branded in your spirit. And this is how the Gentiles got grafted in. They got grafted in because they were already branded. Let me give you an example. You remember that lady? She was come to the table, and she was asking Yeshua Yeshua HaMashiach, if he would come and bless her daughter, I believe. No, I don't know if she's the one. No, she was eating. Yeah, I think she was at his table, and she was asking him. Yeah, I think to go to heal her daughter or something. And Yeshua said he only came for the lost sheep of Israel, and that not for dogs, you see. And she said, even the dogs, watch this, y'all. That's why I said these pastors and all of them, they won't teach you right, because the word dog, you got to understand where this is actually coming from. I don't think Yeshua said to her a dog, but this is how you know what man add and what man take away. But let's get to the whole nitty gritty of it. Watch this. She said, but even the dog eat the crumbs from the master table. You know what he said? Faith has healed. Faith. That lady had faith. See, Yeshua knew that you ain't the one gave her faith. You didn't brand that lady with faith. The Most High branded her from the kingdom already. And when she spoke those very powerful words, even the dog eat the crumbs from the master table. She was identifying to him, I know who you are. And if you are a dog and you know who he is, you really ain't the dog. You are branded from the kingdom. Same way he said to Peter. Who do they say? He said to all the disciples, who do they say that I am? And they said, Elijah, the prophet, John the Baptist, and all this and that. And he said, who do they say I am that I am? In a sense, I am that I am. And then Peter said, the Son of the living Yah. Even then, Yeshua had to step back again and say, wait a minute. Flesh and blood did not reveal that unto you, but the Father in heaven. because you all never understood that Yeshua himself did not know a lot because it wasn't given to him by the Father. So when that lady told him even the dogs eat the crumb from the master table, she stepped right into this realm right here. Spiritual faith. That spiritual faith was birthed in her already before she came out of her mother's, before she even got in her mother's womb. She was branded already with faith. Her faith knew who Yeshua was. And she called him out when it was said that, okay, I come to the lost sheep. He's not to give the food to the dog. She called him out. 1 minute, bro. I'm not the dog. Even the dogs eat the crumbs from the master table. At that moment, he had to freeze and say, wait a minute, hold up. This one came from the kingdom. Faith. You got it. You got that faith. That's why y'all do not understand how these people are not teaching. You all crap. Because even at that moment, I heard that in many churches preached by men, even by women, but more so men. And they can talk that all out of order. All out of order. So so I got that one. Now I have to go to Mark chapter 5. In Mark chapter 5, and that's one thing I would say that all the way to my grave, that hey, I love the way the Father rumbled. Because you be looking for him coming left, he come right. You be looking for him to come right, he come left. Sometimes he come in front, sometimes he coming back. He's something to come any way he wanna, with spirit and truth. That's who he is. Mark chapter 5 and verse 34. Mark chapter 5 and verse 34. And he said unto her, daughter, there it is, y'all. I brought that up before, but I had it right here. Let's go there. Mark chapter 5, verse 33 and 34. The woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what was done in her, came and fell down before him and told him all the truth. And he said unto her, daughter, thy faith has made thy whole. Go in peace and be whole. Be whole of thy plagues. This lady right here, she had a plague and she needed, okay. This was another lady. This was another lady. But this was the lady that had the issue of blood. Let me see. Yeah, I think so. And look what he told her. What made her whole? Do you think Yeshua made her whole? No. Listen to what he said in 34. And he said unto her, daughter, thy faith. Thy mean what's in you has made you whole. He didn't have to heal her. He just letting her know, y'all had branded you with faith, baby. You healed. Hello. Just think of those who go out here thinking that they are gifted to be a healer. It got to come with some hardcore spiritual faith, honey. That's why people can't use the power that was given to them when the Ruach has landed in them. They don't know how to use the power. Is it really there? Yes, it is. That power is there 100%. But see, this is what keeps us from really knowing the truth. It's because we don't understand that these are brands that Yah has branded individuals with. Now, here he was telling this woman, and I think this was the woman with the issue of blood, I think it was. And she was trying to touch him or to get some sort of contact. He didn't tell her, what, I'm going to heal you and you are blessed. No, he told her, thy. Wait a minute, hold up. Who gave her that? How did it become hers? Because y'all branded in her. That's why you was trying to touch his robe, because it was already in you. And that's what healed you, because you had faith. It's something, faith is the substance of things unseen but yet believed. It's something in her, which is faith, that y'all had branded her spirit with, that caused her to be healed. Same thing with the lady that said, he said that he's not here the food is not for the dogs. When she turned around and said, even the dogs eat the food from the master table. When that lady said that, let me tell you, that shows she was going to the kingdom, y'all. Oh, baby, you don't come up with no words like that, not enter into the kingdom. She was right then. And what reason why I say that? Because Yeshua wasn't expecting that. And he told her the same thing, thy faith. So y'all see what I'm saying? It's not what people are saying and telling you, you have to do this, you got to get this, you got to be about this, no, it's not about that. And that's why y'all, it's in this end days, letting people go directly where they need to go. Let me tell y'all something that I didn't tell y'all earlier today. Another revelation the Father gave me with the wheat and the tare. Just blew my little mind. I didn't have no mind, no way. I ain't got no sense. But it just blew what little sense I thought I might have grew. It just blew my little mind. He said, Deborah, the wheat and the tare? I said, yeah. I'm curious. I'm wondering what he finna say. Did y'all know the wheat and the tare is the example of that parable? It's like unto Judah. It's like unto Ephraim. It's like unto all the other tribes of Israel. See, the wheat and the tare is the example of what I have been teaching you for 7 years, those who have followed. Is that everybody that said that they're Israel is not Israel, even though they're Israel. Everybody that said that they're Judah is not Judah, even though they're Judah. Listen to what I'm saying. This is what he revealed to me today. And I was like, oh, my head. You mean to tell me? He said, that's what that parable was about. That's what the parable was about. It was about that I set my spiritual seeds as wheat. And what grew around the wheat was like unto the wheat, to where it was, it can grow, it can be around the wheat, but it was tare. So the servant asked, do you want us to pull out the tare, tie it up, and burn it? He said, Woo! The father said, no, don't let them grow together. This is the message I was telling y'all, trying to get y'all to understand. There is a spiritual Judah and there is a fleshly Judah, a worldly Judah. There is a spiritual Israel and there is a worldly Israel. So this is what the tare and the wheat he was explaining to me represent. How that the whole Judah that I set on the earth, that sowed the seeds, I set them on the earth. But guess what? There's Judah all around it. There's Judah all around it. But that's okay. That's okay. Let them grow together. I know which one is mine. What was he saying? That servant wanted to pluck them out and tie them up and burn them. He said, no, you're going to leave them there. I'm going to let them grow together. And I'm going to do the separation. That's deep to me. That's real deep to me. Let Israel grow with Israel. Let them all go together, around each other, together. And what he mean is as Israel. So those that's growing as Israel, that's why he wants you to know ain't all Israel. Because we refuse, we reject, as we reject the spiritual grant. We reject the ideal of him having a spiritual seed versus Satan's serpent seed. We feel that since you chose Judah as your people, or you chose Israel as your people, then all of Israel is your people. No. All of Israel is his people, but he got children in Israel that belong to him. So don't get bent when you understanding, you're hearing someone preaching and trying to teach you about Judah. But you got to also understand there's a natural Judah and there's a spiritual Judah. That's what the tare and the wheat was about. He said, let all the tare and the wheat grow together. Let all Judah grow together, said a Judah. They all are Judah, but let them grow together. I'm going to separate my wheat from my tare, from the tare. I'm going to, and you know what that represents? Separating Satan from Satan's seed from the spiritual seed. But while they on the earth, the Father said, let them grow together. I'm going to do the separation. Okay? So that's also like this. This is the reason why he branded his. And he tells you no one can pluck his out of his hand. Do you think we as human beings have any respect for that, those type of words? No, we don't have none, because we don't think the Father entitled to speak on anything outside of what we understand or what we're willing to accept or what we're willing to believe. But he way above us in our thinkings and our thoughts or whatever. But when he shared with me, the wheat and the tare was just a parable, Deborah, but it's a parable of letting you know the whole Israel is growing amongst each other. Instead of stopping the Israel that represent the serpent seed, leave them alone, let them grow together. I, the Most High, will do the separation. Why? Because I know in the spiritual realm who has what? Of mine. So that's why the servant couldn't separate them. Oh, they was ready to try it. He said, no, you ain't got the ability to separate. Let them grow together. And this is what he's saying. And see, we take it as, oh, the wheat and the tare, he's going to do the separation. We never thought that it's all of us together is what he's going to separate. Because just because we all are Israel, we're not all spiritual Israel. Just because we all Judah, we're not all Judah, spiritual Judah. And that's what you're missing. Because what sense? Let me show you something. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. What sense will it be, or what would it look like for Yah to brand his spiritual seeds with all of this in the spirit to bring all of them that's not branded? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, just like the wheat and the tare. It doesn't make sense for him to do the separation while they on the earth. Because it's require a spiritual separation. And that's what he was telling the servant. No, I don't want you to tie them up, and I don't want you to separate the tare that have grown with the wheat. You're not like you and I. We can't determine who's who and what's what amongst Israel. Who is the spiritual Israel and who is the natural Israel? Who is the seed of the flesh and who is the seed of the spirit? We can't separate it. Now one of us can judge no one at that level. We don't have the ability to do that. He didn't give us no tools to do that. That's what he was telling one of the parables. Nope, I don't want you to tie him up. I don't want you to throw him in the fire. I want you to leave him alone, let him grow together. I got something, a little something playing. Because he knew that he already know he's going to be the separator. He's going to separate the spiritual Israel and the spiritual Judah. He knew that all the time. Okay, so here in Mark chapter 5 and verse we said 34. We did that one, but is that 34? Mark, yes, that's 34. Drop down to 36. We in Mark chapter 5, verse 36, and it says, as soon as Yeshua heard the word that was spoken, he said unto the ruler of the synagogue, be not afraid. Only believe. You see that? Be not afraid. Only believe. See, that's what I was explaining to you. When y'all branded individuals that he sent down here, you can have one of these brand, you can have two, or you can have three, you can have four, you can have five. Regardless, you coming back to the Father. Because you got a brand in your spirit that belongs to him. You're coming back. That's why he said they can't pluck you out of his hand, because I already got you written. I branded you in your spirit. And where you are written is in the kingdom. Your spirit is already written in the kingdom. So you coming back home. Okay. So in Second Corinthians chapter 5, it reads, 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7, it reads, for we walk by faith, not by sight. What does that mean? We walk by faith. Faith you can't see. So stop using your eyes to know everything. I want to see who's teaching. I want to see who preaching. I want to see. No. Faith in the spirit don't come by seeing. It's a spiritual brand of your spirit. Your spirit has been branded by faith. Look at 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7. We walk by faith. That means, just imagine us walking around based on spiritual faith. We know that spiritual faith is the substance of things unseen. So we can't see this faith. But look here, we walk in it. How can we walk it when we can't see it, Father, y'all? It's spiritual by faith. And you know what he's saying? Everything that I'm saying, he's trying to get you to understand that it's by spiritual realm and not by natural. That's why today you hear some people, you don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but I've heard, ain't nobody never approached me that way, but I have heard people talk about everybody want to be spiritual today. Everybody talking about everything is spiritual. You know, they need to cut all that out. You know why? They can't reach that realm. They can't go, they can't reach over in that realm. So they know already that they can't go over in that realm. You got to be assigned to the spiritual realm before you can go over in it. And that's the problem. 99.9 just can't pull over in the spirit realm if they're not assigned. Okay, so here in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7, for we walk by faith. And we know faith, you can't even see it. So how you going to know the way? How you going to know? How you going to walk in something you can't see? Bet you now one of you can answer that, make that make sense. You know why? The walk is spiritual. The walk is totally spiritual. We walk by faith and not by sight. Letting us know we have to walk in the spirit and not in the flesh. What did I teach you all for these years? There's two. When you learn that if there's a walk in the natural, surely there's a walk in the spirit. And that's what you walk in the spirit by faith. And that's the twos that should have been taught to each and every last one of us when we were little kids, little children, so that we can understand today how to measure everything. You know how a scale got to measure how many balance that's on that scale. Right? Yeah, right. You see? Well, that's reality. You balance. That's the reality. Everything needs to be balanced. Okay? You have to balance the spiritual realm and you have to balance the natural realm, but never give the authority to the natural realm from the spiritual realm. They're two different balance. One is eternal and one is the grave. Okay? Because when that one's finished balancing, it going straight to the grave. This one here is going to be the winner. And that's the spiritual realm. So if you feel that you're going to continue to live in this world and live out your natural, you live it out, baby. That's where your spirit going. In the natural fire. It's not the natural fire. It's the fire that y'all created. It's going to feel worse than natural. So I can't even say it's the natural fire. The reason why I said it is I can't see people living, and y'all has blessed us, because with me, I look at myself 65. That's a blessing. When you see all these people falling dead and these people that have gone before us, you know, all these people, you got to somewhere glorify the Father for just allowing you. It ain't like you living to see anything any good. I'm going to be honest about that. So much wicked and darkness on this earth. It ain't like something big about living. It ain't. But it's just the ideal of knowing somebody like the Creator himself has blessed me to be able to live. I got to give him the glory for it and the honor, even though it comes in a dark, dark time like no other, worse than no other. I still thank him for it, because it's the more and more I realize, not that I realize, I accept, is the fact that if he gave it to me, you put it to good use. How about that? Put it to good use. If he gonna give you more time to live, put it to good use, Deborah. So that's what I'm grateful for, that he's given me another day to put what he invested in me to good use. Okay? So that's what I'm really grateful for. Because if we come down to the world itself, ain't nothing good about being still living in this world. But because when he look high and look low, he see me and he say, I'm going to give you another day to keep blessing, pouring out the blessing regarding me. You see what I'm saying? So I'm grateful for him giving me that opportunity to continue to fulfill that. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 9. In Proverbs chapter 9 and verse 10, what is it saying in Proverbs chapter 9 and verse 10? For the fear of Yah, there it go, y'all, is the beginning of wisdom. You see how the fear of Yah, it pours into what? Wisdom of Yah. Isn't that beautiful? Look how the fear pour in the wisdom of Yah. It says here in verse 10, the fear of Yah is the beginning. It's the beginning of wisdom. So you see how these spiritual brands help out you in a great deal. Y'all don't get it, do you? See, if he's going to give you the spirit of Yah, the fear of Yah, his is the beginning of wisdom. He's letting you know that fear, this brand that's in your spirit called fear of Yah, it's going to give you wisdom. Isn't that neat? And the knowledge of the holy is understanding. And the knowledge of the holy is understanding. How? Y'all don't get it, do you? This one fear is going to give you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's beautiful. And see that right? I just told y'all, you didn't believe it. It went straight over y'all head. Y'all missed it. This whole lesson you can miss. But what I just said, it went over your head. Just fear alone of Yah. The gift, the brand that he branded you in your spirit. He branded your spirit. Y'all don't get it. It went over your head. It's still going over your head. Look at your verse. Look at it. Proverbs chapter 9, verse what? I lost my this is pretty good. This is really Proverbs 10, verse 10. Yeah, that's something really good. Proverbs chapter 9, verse 10. Just listen to what he said. The fear of Yah, here it is. That's a brand. He branded somebody with fear of Yah, which I think he branded all of his seeds with fear. But guess what? Just this fear alone starts up your spiritual wisdom, your spiritual knowledge, and your spiritual understanding of the spiritual creator. If y'all didn't catch that, you don't need to catch it, because that's deep. He's actually telling you, which I ain't gonna say he just telling you, he teaching me something right as I speak to you all. I'm getting it, y'all. I'm speaking to y'all and I'm learning as I'm speaking to you all. That's why I'm telling you it went over your head. Because this fear alone that's branded in your spirit of him, fear alone, he's going to suffer you to begin to get wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in the spirit. That's what Sister Deborah's at. That's what I receive from him every day. Spiritual wisdom, spiritual knowledge. And who is understanding? The Most High Yah. The Creator is understanding. And he's showing you how you get it. Fear is the beginning of having me, my wisdom, my knowledge, and me, myself. That's why I said it went over your head. That needs to be in your spiritual backpack. That needs to be highlighted in your book. So you can see that when Sister Deborah is talking about these brands, these things is legit. This is the only way you're going to make it back home to the bosom of the Father. If he has branded you with this, and he decided, if I brand you with fear, it's just the beginning. I'm going to give you wisdom. I'm going to give you knowledge, and I'm going to let you get to know me. I'm all understanding. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. But first of all, I'm going to give you fear so you can fear of me that holds spiritual wisdom, that holds spiritual knowledge, and that is that I am understanding. That's deep. That's deep. Let me highlight that right now. That's a good one. That's a wonderful one. That's why I say be careful. And that coming from Proverbs 9, chapter 9, verse 10. Let's go into Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 13. Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 13. Now, we didn't talk about every last one of these. And these are brands that comes from the spiritual realm that's in your spirit. Before you, remember he said, I knew you before you were in your mother's womb. I predestined thee. I mold and I shape thee. You see? And I knew thee. When he said he's molded and he shaped thee, this is what he was putting in you. What you need of him. He done that with his right hand. And I know they don't teach it on here. And I know you ain't going to get it nowhere else. So if you have a spiritual backpack, put that spirit and truth and the light of that in your spiritual backpack. Highlight that in your Bible, your study guide. Okay. So Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 13 reads, the fear of Yah is to have, wait a minute. The fear of Yah is to hate evil. Oh, I like that. Now, there it is again, went over your head. And that one went over pretty quick. Now watch this here. Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 13. The fear of Yah, here we are, we're back with the brand of fear, is to hate evil. So you see, these brands is what's locking you in as the spiritual seed. So you won't go over here messing with the serpent seed. So you need to get your tails on your knees and glorify the Father. If you have any of these, this is what I'm saying. Because here in Proverbs chapter 8 and verse 13, it telling you the fear of Yah is to hate evil. The fear of Yah is to hate evil. Is that for you to hate evil? Anybody in the live chat? Is he saying it is for you to hate evil? Anybody in the live chat? Let me go over it again. The fear of Yah is to hate evil. So is he telling you you need to hate evil? Anybody in the live chat? Anybody in the live chat? Can you answer that? I'll give you a moment. I told y'all, be careful. Wow, that's deep. You still waiting. You're waiting for somebody, at least one person, if they can. Proverbs chapter 8, verse 13. The fear of Yah, there it is to hate evil. And the question was, oh, so it's two. Oh, it's in there. Okay, everyone says, does this mean you have to hate evil? Everyone said yes. No. It means no. It means no, baby. Okay? Listen to what it says. The fear of Yah. The fear of Yah. That is this brand in your spirit. This brand in your spirit hates evil. You get it? Someone else said yes. As everybody thinking is yes, you are supposed to hate evil. When can you? I'm gonna see if y'all understand it. Let's go over it again. 13. Proverbs 8 and verse 13. The fear of Yah, the fear of Yah, here is the fear, is to hate evil. Where is this fear at? Where is this fear? These gifts are where? Anybody can answer it? Where are these gifts at? In the spirit. Very good. So if these gifts are in the spirit, you are to hate it in your spirit. You get it? Listen to what it says. The fear of Yah, which is spirit, is to hate evil. This spirit fear that's in your spirit is to hate evil in your spirit. Did anyone get it? Right. In the spirit. There you go. Yeah, exactly. He's talking about in your spirit. Watch this here. Pride and arrogance. I think I'm pronouncing it right. And the evil ways and the forward mouth do I hate. Do I hate. Okay? So He's letting you know that we have to hate it in our spirit. And when you hate it in your spirit taints your flesh how to not embed in it. Let me tell you what I mean. We all have sinned and come short of the glory. We are born into sin, shaped in iniquity. So even the sin and iniquity in which we are embedded is evil. So what he wants you to understand is the fear of Yah is a spiritual fear, and it's branded in the spirit. And if it's branded in the spirit, then that's where you have to hate evil. Let's try use Abel. If we use Abel for an example, could we say that Abel hated Cain? Anybody in the live? Could we say that Abel hated Cain? Anybody in the live? Can we say the way Cain conducted himself, did Abel also hate Cain? You said yes. Someone else said yes. Y'all better stop it. Y'all better. Y'all said yes. Now let's go back to Cain. Did Abel hate Cain? Now, let me get it back. Let me go back to okay, y'all. Did Abel hate Cain? And you all said yes. No, he was okay. Somebody said no, he was jealous. Wait a minute. Jealous? Wait a minute, y'all going somewhere else. Okay. Cain was the evil one. Okay. I think that's what we might have. Cain was the evil one. He was the jealous one. But I ask you all, did Abel, the other son that was murdered, did he hate Cain? No, Abel didn't hate Cain. Right. Everybody was saying, yeah. Right. Okay. So Abel did not hate Cain. Why? Because Abel was the spiritual seed. Anything he hated is what Yah hated because Yah was in him. Like you, anything that you hate has to be what you hate from the spirit that rests in you, because Yah rests in you. Yah hate it and your spirit hate it. That's why the fear, okay, is in the spirit. Now, when you get to Hebrew chapter 11, verse 15, y'all got me going. Hebrew chapter 11, verse 4. Listen to what it says. By faith, Abel offered unto Yah a more excellent sacrifice than Cain. Did y'all hear that? By faith, Abel offered a better sacrifice than Cain. Why? Because he had the spiritual brand. The spiritual brand of what? Faith Abel had. That's why he was able to offer a better sacrifice. Cain didn't have this. You people, let me tell y'all what y'all do not understand. Sister Deborah have taught this so many times. This here is the spiritual brand of the Father. This is what's in you to make you walk upright in Yah. You see, without this, you cannot please the Most High Yah. you with faith. Without faith, you cannot please the Most High God. So I'm trying to get y'all to see the importance of having these brands branded in your spirit. Now let's go back to what we were at. Now we just learned in Hebrew chapter 11 and verse 4, by faith Abel offered unto Yah a more excellent sacrifice than Cain. Did Abel offer that sacrifice on his own? Can somebody answer that? Did Abel offer a better sacrifice than Cain on his own? No. The brand. You see how the brand helps us out, child? It helps us line up with the Most High Yah like we need to. And that's what this here study guide been teaching a lot of people in how you line up in the spirit realm. And this is why they can't study to show themselves approved, rightly dividing the word of truth, because the truth has to be divided in this thing. That's why a lot of people say, well, how can you hear if there's not a preacher? Sit your tails down. This thing don't come by the mouth of a regular mouth preacher. This thing come by our spiritual hearing. And that's spirit and truth. Not a man because he's a pastor. He said he a pastor. He would never touch the rim of what I'm speaking to you all tonight about. And that's what's sad. Because what I'm sharing with you all, I hope you have your spiritual backpack. So you can put spirit and truth and this light into your spiritual backpack. Because that journey to Mount Zion, you're going to need it. Because this is what you're going to have to teach those that's going ahead and throughout that journey to the Mount Zion. This is the sort of things you're going to be able to teach them. By the time they get there, he's going to clean them up from the inside. And you're going to be already talked to their outside. Okay, so here it is. Abel, Hebrew chapter 11 verse 4, it says, by faith Abel offered unto Yah a more excellent sacrifice than Cain. No, he didn't. It told you by faith. He only did it by this here in his spirit, y'all. If this wasn't in his spirit, he wouldn't give Yah nothing, okay? Because Abraham didn't have it. Not Abraham. Cain did not have this. So that's why he couldn't offer a better sacrifice. He was the seed of the serpent. When Abel, he was the seed of the spirit. What made him the seed of the spirit is because faith was one of the signs that was branded in him. That him having faith made him give the Most High a better offering. All because of faith. So that's why I never, even as a teenager, I never agreed with the churches teaching and preaching about faith. Because it gave the flesh the more power and the authority. I got this. And that's how people are today. Oh, I know I'm going to Mount Zion. I know I'm in here. I don't need nobody to tell me. I know I'm in there. I know I got the Holy Spirit. You don't know nothing. Because if you know you got it, you wouldn't have to say you know it. You'll walk in it. How about that? Okay. So when you get to that, we were in Proverbs 8 and 13. Now watch this. It says, the fear of Yah. Having this fear branded in you like Abel had faith branded in him that caused him to give Yah the proper sacrifice. So when everybody was wondering, when they get to teaching it, stop getting Abel all the glory. That's what I go to my grave not understanding that. We give flesh and blood all the glory. By faith did Cain have the ability to give Yah the proper offering. Something Cain didn't have. Now, when you go here, it's also showing you all something that's very important. Watch this here. Proverbs chapter 8, verse 13. The fear of Yah is to hate evil. pride and arrogancy. Is that arrogance? Arrogancy and the evil ways, and to forward and the evil way, and the forward mouth do I hate. A forward mouth do I hate. Here he's saying this fear that's in you will cause you from the inside to hate exactly what Yah hates. You see? Because you have the brand fear. It is. See where it says Yah is to hate evil. And what happens when you have this here fear that of Yah? See how it says of the Lord. It says of the Lord. I'm saying of Yah is to hate it, because that's from the spiritual realm to the outer realm. So it's not you hating, going around hating people, because you first going to have to start with you, because you are your own worst enemy. You first have to hate yourself then, to the level of where this fear of Yah is to hate evil. So you now have to understand he's speaking in the spirit realm. Hate what I hate. If I'm in you and I'm greater than anything on the outside, hate the things that I hate. Hate it from the inside. And what happens? It taints the outside. To not display hate, to not practice hate, but to not like hate. All of us that are walking in the light, we hate the darkness, but not with the type of hate that we out here trying to destroy it. You get what I'm saying? Because we have the spirit of fear in us, that Yah hate all this wicked and evil out here. But if we bring it to the outer man and use it as a hate of the outer man, we've been and killed somebody. You get the point I'm making? Every day we've been and killed somebody. So it ain't something he's asking us to practice to hate on the outside. It's what we practice to hate on the inside. It'll keep us from falling into those categories on the outside. You see what I'm saying? So this is what he's wanting us to understand, the fear. And that's when you go over and you go into this book and you start to study it more and more, you're going to run up on all of these. And then you're going to get it. You're going to say, wait a minute. These are things from the heaven that has sealed us from the inside with these things. Okay. So let's go to the this one is Proverbs 1 and verse 7. Let's see what Proverbs 1 and verse 7 is saying. And then we got one more, Ecclesiastics. But let's go to Proverbs 1 and verse 7. So what we're talking about are these spiritual brands that Yah brand heads with. We should be grateful. This is what, when we say in our prayers and we giving thanks to the Most High, this is what you need to be thanking him for. Oh, Father, mercy. This is what you need to be thanking him for. You see how it's so much you can thank him for? Because if you got these type of brands in you, that's what make you who you are in him and him in you. It's not what you do on the outside that makes you who you are in him and him in you. That's why he says, seek ye the kingdom first. He letting you know, seek the spiritual realm of who I am, who I was, who I'm going to be. Seek me, the spiritual realm, because it'll lead you in all kind of, out of all kind of dark tunnels. When you get in it, you'll know the way out. And that's why a lot of people don't know the way out. So when you get to Proverbs 1 and verse 7, the fear of Yah is the beginning of knowledge. You see that? But the fools despise wisdom and instruction. Fools despise wisdom and destruction. But it lets you know the fear of Yah is the beginning of knowledge. So do you see how these brands help you to be in Yah and Yah in you. You see? To where you are not going to get nobody, as long as you live, to get on this devil platform and any place you think you can go. You can go to Timbuktu or Russia, whatever you want to go, and you ain't going to get nobody showing you the brands of the Most High Yah from the kingdom. They can't show you what is not shown to them from the inside. They got to give you what they can see on the outside to manipulate you. Did y'all know that's how the Bible is always used to deceive people? That's how. It's easy. So if it's that easy, how is it? Let me tell you why. You can have one Bible and you can have, let's say, 100 different denominations, and all 100 different denominations would have a different interpretation. They will label themselves a different belief, a different understanding, a different interpretation, and a different understanding. But how? If y'all coming from one same book, why do we have to have 100 different religions, 100 different interpretations, 100 different comprehension? I mean, I don't understand that. You know why? You all thinking it's the book that's going to bring people into a oneness. It ain't the book. It's the word. The Most High, the Creator, is the word. And if he ain't living in you to teach you what is being said in this book, you lost with the cause and without. You lost forever. Because without that Ruach HaKodesh, which the world also called the Holy Spirit, being in you of the Most High Yah, you just out there. That's why the blind is leading the blind. That's why. So here in Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 7, it says, the fear of Yah is the beginning of knowledge. You see what this will bring you? Knowledge, you people. So you see the power in having these brands of the Most High Yah. So why are we out here deceiving people and manipulating people and lying to people instead of giving them what is spirit and truth, so they'll know why they believe what they believe, why they find themselves doing what's righteous, why they have the faith that's not even theirs. It's all inside of you, in your spirit. And you ain't going to find no verse in here that's going to tell you it's in your flesh. That's why we can't hate. Fear can't bring, the fear of Yah cannot bring the hate. We have to hate from the spirit what Yah hate. Because if we got to hate from the flesh, we first have to start with ourselves. We got to hate the ways that we are in, because we are sin and evil and does iniquity. So we have to start with ourselves. But when it's in the spirit, he are working from the spirit on the outside. So you would hate it from the inside and won't go in a direction toward it on the outside. That makes sense. Okay, so here in Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 7, it says, the fear of Yah is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. That's true. That's what happened to Adam and Eve in the garden. Our last verse is Ecclesiastes. In the book of Ecclesiastes, that's our last verse of today. And it's Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. Chapter 12 and verse 13. Okay. And it reads, chapter 12 and verse 13. Anybody have any questions? You can get ready to bring it forth. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13, it reads, let us hear the conclusion, the whole matter. Fear Yah and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. You hear that? To fear Yah and keep his commandments. That's the fear he's talking about. The fear that gives you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. The fear that gives you knowledge. Okay? The fear that causes you to hate wicked and evil. You see? So these are the things that y'all brand heathens with before they get down here. So they too, okay, can be at standards with him, not against him. Okay? Anybody have any questions? To me, that was a pretty good one. That was a really, I'm gonna make sure I keep this one in here. I'm gonna keep this one in this book. Anybody in the live have any questions that they would like to ask? Or maybe you got the answer to something. Yeah, I really like that. I like that. What today is? Oh, I got it now. The 19th. Yeah, I liked it, that one. That's a good one. Okay. So no one has any question this evening? And you all, I guess not. Okay. Again, I appreciate each and every last one of you all tuning in this evening. And I hope you got something out of it, because really, you all, that was a really good message. The most thing I want you to take with you, and it is also spirit and truth, and it's the light. Okay. Put it in your spiritual backpack, because these things here represent the Most High Yah. Okay. And on our journey to Mount Zion, I believe it's a journey. I believe it is. I don't know how long, or which I don't think it's going to be long, as far as the length of time from bringing us out of captivity to there. I think the Spirit is going to be working what he does best, miracles. But in it all, I think many going to have questions. Many going to ask questions. Many are going to wonder about things. And you having a spiritual backpack is going to be the one that has the answers. I don't think me, Sister Deborah, being on this Deborah platform, I don't think it's in vain. I think it's a purpose for it. Okay. I think it's a purpose for bringing light out of the midst of darkness in such a critical time as this in the world. I don't think people really get it when it's said, let me say it like that in this day, it's the worst that ever have existed on the face of the earth. I think that's one of the biggest things that people are in full 100% denial. They don't want to take on nothing today to be worse than any time period. They don't see it like that. Everybody is out trying to make things better, and make things work a certain way. And they started in their household. And I learned that it's not just I'm learning, but I learned that a lot of things starts in the house. And what I mean by this, I used to be in full denial that everything starts in the house, because I had to raise 6 children. So a lot of things that the children were, it's always said everything starts in the house, and I always, y'all, I have never, ever had never in my 65 years heard any bad report regarding not one of my children. Not one. Not one. And that to me is a message to the world. I believed that I could not raise them without Yah. I believe that that's the only one that I had to raise those children was him. And I want to show y'all how he did it. Let me tell y'all how he did it. How the Father allowed me to raise these children is to know those children. I know those kids, y'all. They're adults now, but I know them. And I used to say all the time, I just thank you, Father, for allowing me to know these children. Does it hurt to know them? Yes, it does. Anytime light has to spring out of darkness, it comes with a price. It's a price you pay. It's a price you suffer. It's a price you endure. But Yah is patience that helps you through it all. Because there go one. Let me give him 1 minute. Let me let you all go. So I, Sister Deborah, say I will be back. And I appreciate each and every last one of you all tuning in. And I say, what do you mean when you say born of the flesh? Like Ishmael? Yes, you can say that too. You can say that. You're right. Like Ishmael. So I say shalom and shalom.